Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Bible Study. Hope that your week is going great. Tonight, folks, we are going to be in Exodus chapter 16. That's right. This is the story where we get the first glimpse of manna from heaven. That's right. So we'll be in there in just a minute, kind of working through that and what everyone was dealing with. And if you are here, if you've arrived, do me a favor, go on over to the comment section, throw something up there. Let me know you're here. Love to see that. I can see from my statistics here, people are, well, quite a few anonymous are coming in on YouTube. Welcome, you guys. Several others on YouTube that are logged in, and then, of course, on Facebook. So our room is starting to get loaded up as usual. So, guys, do me a favor, jump over to the comment section. Let me know you're here. I'll be checking those in just a minute. In the meantime, pour yourself a cup of coffee, get comfortable, grab your Bible if you want to. I always have the text here on the screen, though, so it's not necessary unless you want to. And we will get started in just a minute. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start with a word of prayer, and we will go ahead and commence. So join me if you would. God, I thank you for this night. Praise you for your goodness. We ask that you would help us to take this story that is somewhat familiar to at least a few of us, and teach us something new with it. God, help us to see ourselves in certain areas that will become very obvious here really quick, and help us to learn something new, and help us to learn something we can apply to our lives. So God, I pray for blessing over those that are here tonight with us, that are online, that are watching, listening, whichever, those that are traveling, many people that are on the road doing different things. I just pray for blessing over them. And I ask now that you would lead and guide us for the next few minutes we have together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys. Again, we are going to be in Exodus chapter 16. That's a 1-6. Be there in just a minute. Let me go ahead and jump on over to the comment section and see who has shown up so far. What do we got? Gino and Tammy, good to see y'all. Hope that you're doing great. What's up, Peggy and Richard? Hello, everyone from Columbia, Tennessee. I know where that is. Yeah, just south of Nashville. That's right. I'm at Brentwood. On our way to Florida to visit Rich's son. Great barbecue in that, absolutely right there in that area. Franklin is some of the best barbecue ever. That's just south of Nashville as well. Good stuff in that area. You guys are in a great place. Penny, hello or good evening to all. Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday. Yep. So far, so good. George, what's up? Good Tuesday evening, everyone. Hope George and Darla are doing great. Hey, George, how's Bigfoot doing? George has one of my, not my Bigfoot cups. This is just one of my, normal coffee cups. Ooh, but I have a statue of this pose right here. I have a concrete kind of a statue of that sits out on my front porch. It's a good couple feet tall. Anyway, during the snow and all the really cold weather this last winter, during one of those big snowstorms, I was out there and I was shoveling off my step out front, and my snow shovel hit Bigfoot in the ankle and broke him, like the bottom base of it where his feet are stayed put in the ice, and the top of him went and fell over. So George is fixing him for me. So I hope he's doing good. Tammy, what is happening? Always good to have you with us. What's up, Gabriel? I hope you are doing great. Deb, what is up, girl? It's always good to have you. What's up, Kevin? Hey, man. Listen, bro, I got to tell you something. You have come so far in your life. I just want to throw this out there really quick. Kevin's one of my youth group kids from 25 years ago. He is a phenomenal guitar player, and he's also an incredible artist. I've been watching your artwork, man. You are really good, and I love that new Taylor, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Greg, what's happening, buddy? Good evening, everyone. Glad you're with us. Kristen, hey, what is happening? Hello, everyone. Good to see you. George, he's in pre-hop. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Make sure he gets plenty of that laughing gas. Oh, Charlie, what is up? Hope you and Beth are doing great. And Jess, what is up, Jessica? Always good to have you. All right, guys. So tonight we jump into Exodus chapter 16, and this is the story of manna from heaven, or some translations will call it bread from heaven, but it's manna. That's what it is called. in Hebrew, and it means something very specific, and I'll tell you what that means when we get to it. So we will be going through that here in just a minute. But we're going to go ahead and open up. Let me give you, usually I ask a question first, and then I go into some of the text. But I'm going to do it a little bit different tonight. I'm going to jump into the text real quick, and then I will come back with the actual question. All right, tonight I'm using the ESV. I kind of bang around, different translations all the time. But anyway, tonight I'm using the ESV. So the Israelites, they've come through the Red Sea. If you remember that whole story, they're heading toward the wilderness, which is basically the middle of the desert of the Sinai Peninsula. And then we pick it up here. They set out from Elim, and all the congregation of people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, which is just a place out in the Sinai Peninsula in the middle of the desert, on the 15th day of the second month after they departed from the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. They're complaining. I know nobody here ever complains, but these guys were complaining. Verse 3, and the people of Israel said to them, would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt. It sounds kind of convoluted. They're saying we would have rather stayed in Egypt and died there when we were sitting by the meat pots, so big, giant, vats of cooking meat, and ate bread to the full. For you, talking about Moses, you brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Good Lord. So they're complaining. Oh my goodness. So I don't know about you, but here's the thing, man. God always steps up. So we know something cool is about to happen. We jump back over to the comment section. A few more people are piling in. What's happening, John? Hope you're doing great, buddy. Laura, good to have you. Give your husband a big high five and a hug from us. Hope that you guys are doing great. Good old Ron. All right. So here is my first question for the night, you guys. Only 2 questions tonight, because there's really only 2 movements here. Question number 1. Tell about a time when you or someone else complained about their situation. Because we just read, and we're going to continue reading, that the Israelites have been freed from slavery. They've seen the miracles of God. They've seen the Red Sea open up. They've walked through the sea on dry land and watched the Red Sea close up and destroy a whole bunch of the chariots and the warriors from Egypt that were pursuing them. So they know God is at work. So God is leading them out toward the promised land with Moses in the lead and his brother Aaron. And all these great things are happening, and they're no longer slaves, and they begin to complain. Did you see what they said? We would have rather stayed in Egypt and been slaves and had God kill us there, because at least there we were sitting next to the pots full of meat, cooking, smelling great. We were sitting there eating all the bread that we wanted, being happy, and we could have just died there. Why didn't we just stay there? So they're complaining about no longer being slaves, and they're complaining because they're hungry. Now, I know what it's like, man. I get hungry. It's funny. People get what they call hangry. I do too. Most people do. You get irritated when your stomach is gurgling. So I understand that. So my question is for you, tell about a time when you or someone else complained about the situation that they were in. Because not everybody does everything perfectly, and not everybody, hold on a second. I don't know why I always forget this. My email is open. It's not supposed to be. There. All right, close the email up. Not everybody is always happy about everything. Sometimes we complain about stuff. So I'm asking you to share about a time when you've complained about your situation, or maybe somebody you know complained about a situation. Here's some examples. Here's somebody complaining because they went to rent a car. They wanted a blue car. They got a red one instead. That's always interesting. Here's someone else complaining. I saw the free dishwasher you have on Craigslist. I live in Smyrna, though. Got anything else to throw in to make it worth my time? He says, I'll tell you what, I'll knock half off the asking price. It's free. They're already complaining. And then you got people that complain about, I really don't want to hang out with you long term. It's kind of funny, actually. And then there's people that complain, like sometimes your kids complain because they don't like what they got. They're a little bit irritated. Maybe they didn't get everything they wanted when they were getting free stuff. And then we all know this one, right? Remember Ralphie? Remember Ralphie complaining about that horrible outfit in the Christmas Story? And then the last one I have here for complainers is this. That look on his face here when your Christmas bonus is a subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club. I think everybody knows what that's all about. That is one of the best movies ever. So funny, so good. So guys, the question remains. So I'm asking you to tell about a time when you or someone else was complaining about their situation. While you're typing that out, I'm going to go back to the text and kind of review what we just looked at, and then we'll move forward. So they're complaining that we would have rather stayed and died by the hand of the Lord in Egypt when we were sitting by the meat pots and we ate bread to the full. Yet you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. And then the Lord Yahweh said to Moses, behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you. That's incredible stuff, right? And the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day. So no hoarding, just a day's portion. You have to trust that God will take care of tomorrow. So there's a big principle in this. You either trust God or you don't. We'll go through that in a minute. That I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. And on the sixth day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily. So no working on the Sabbath. Just bring in enough to get through the Sabbath. Verse 6, so Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, at evening, you shall know that it was Yahweh, the Lord, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall see the glory of Yahweh, the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against the Lord. Grumbling against God. Isn't that horrible? They think they're complaining about Moses, but truly Moses is just doing what God asked him to do or told him to do. So truly they're complaining against God. And then Moses goes on to say, for what are we that you grumble against us? And Moses said, when the Lord gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, because the Lord has heard your grumbling, and that you grumble against him, what are we? You're not grumbling, which is complaining against us, but against the Lord, against Yahweh, against God himself is who you're complaining against. See, that's tough stuff right there, right? But you know what? Given the right circumstance, every single one of us will complain if you give us the right circumstance and give us the right sort of thing that irritates us or that kind of gets us a little sideways. With these people, it was just hunger. So I'm asking you to tell about a time when you or someone else complained about the situation that they were in. Let's see what people are saying. All right. Gino and Tammy, we complained to our then travel agent. Yeah, I haven't heard about that for a while. Many years ago when I took Tammy to Europe. That was a long time ago. 2 of our destinations were overbooked, so we ended up spending 2 of the days in and around the Eiffel Tower. Well, hey. Sorry, that sounds like fun to me. I would like to see the Eiffel Tower. That's cool. All right. Peggy, I'm usually not much of a complainer, but I might when the cicadas come. Yeah. They're irritating to listen to. Whew. I agree with that. Jessica, I complain about the situation I'm in right now, but I realize God is heavily growing my character and giving me more understanding and a deeper love through it. That's really profound. Thank you for sharing that. Kevin, I got a really good job, and the guy who got me the job, I ended up working with him, but he screams and curses at me and yells all the time, and it didn't make any sense. Ugh. When you tell me to do something, I would do it, and then he would yell at me for doing it, so it didn't make any sense, and I wasn't learning anything from him. That's rough, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a tough situation. I know some guys in the trades that were like that back when I used to work concrete and that kind of stuff. Long time ago. We're talking decades ago. But yeah, there's people that are like that. When you get in the trades and you're out in the field and you're swinging a hammer or you're, digging with a shovel, or like me, building forms and pouring concrete back in the day, sometimes that's the way people are at times. Phil, I would hope that a wedding ring is more than hanging out. Huh? This is the question. Tell about a time when you or someone else complained about your situation. So, Phil, I'm not sure I understand, but I love you anyway. All right. Penny, I would tell our girls and the kids that I used to teach, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. That's right. I remember that little statement there. Tammy says, I complained loudly about moving from the sunny South to the brutally cold and snowy winters in Illinois. My skin used to be tanned. Now it's either pale face or blue. Cracker. All right, Peggy, this is Richard. I haven't complained since I left the Army. You are a good man, and I think that's probably true. I've seen you go through a lot. Gabriel, we all have one thing or the other to complain about. Over here, e.g. bad government, financial lack, and so on. But in all my complaints, I do not blame God because it's not God's fault. It's mankind. You are wise. That's right. I'm sorry about the government situation and the finances that are in lack. I get that. Oof. Penny says, I've complained about our taxes, tolls, and fees living in Illinois. So have I. Taxes, tolls, and fees on everything. Yeah. Lauren says, hey, y'all, happy Tuesday. Forgot to post an update. I got home yesterday around 5 feeling so-so. Blood pressure super high and I'm exhausted. Not in as much pain today, though. Please keep praying for your speedy recovery. We love you. Glad that you made it through your surgery last Thursday. And I'm super pumped that you're back home. I'm glad to have you back. So we will keep praying for you. I'm glad you're in less pain today. So we will keep praying for a full and speedy recovery for you. John says, complaining about not being able to be on time. Yeah, that can be a big one. Jessica, he's talking about the picture you showed. Oh, now I get it. Now I get it, Phil. I'm sorry for busting your chops there. All right, where are we at? Gabriel says, I can complain to men, but I dare not try it with God. Instead, I pray to God to help me stay in him no matter the situation because he never makes mistakes. Thank you for sharing that. You know what? You have such a good attitude, and you're online with us from from Nigeria, over in Africa. And a lot of us don't know what it's like to be in a place where food can be scarce like that, electricity scarce, and resources are not really readily available. So I really appreciate your heart and your attitude. So thank you, Gabriel, for being like that. It's really nice. Lee, my buddy Lee, we went to high school together. I love this guy. I complain about my boss on a daily basis. Yeah, yourself? And I'm self-employed. You have been for years. I love this guy. I haven't talked about him for a while, but I met Lee in 1982, 83. Yeah, I was going into high school. He was a senior when I was a freshman, and he was like the closest friend I had for years. We basically learned to play guitar together, and I love this guy. Like, love him. So thanks for being here, buddy. Kristen, I complain about everything that I have to do from when the kids get home from school to when they go to bed. But I love and enjoy every one of my little minions, so I suck it up and get things done. Your minions are awesome. I love your kids. Your kids are fantastic. Phil says, that comment goes with the pic of the lady refusing the engagement ring. My comments are delayed sometimes. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you, Phil. I get it now. Lauren, I've complained about my psycho exes. Oh, of course you have. Good Lord. All right. Skull. George, I'm not complaining. I'm not married to Eileen. My life is good. Oh, where is Larry? Larry's one of our elders. He's in the pipeline. He's going to be getting ordained here in a couple months as a full pastor. And George is our head of security at our church. So he's talking about Larry. His wife's name is Eileen. That's the one here. And Larry's always saying, my life is perfect. No, how does he go? How does he say it? I say, how you doing, Larry? He always goes, I'm married to Eileen. My life is perfect. He says that all the time. So that's kind of an inside joke. That's funny, man. Gabriel, praying for Lauren. Thank you for that. Yeah, she had surgery last week. She's with us tonight. That's awesome. Brenda, I complain, but it makes me nervous to complain because it can always get worse. Ah, so true. So true. Hey, let us know if there's anything you need, sweetheart. You just had surgery too on your neck. So anyway, I saw you the other day, but let us know if you need anything. Lee, love you too, brother. I do, and I mean it. So thank you for that. You know what? Let me go back to him for just a minute. Lee was one of the only people back in 2001. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've known this guy since 82 or 83, and we learned to play guitar together, went to high school together. Loved this guy, like closer than a brother. And he was one of the only guys that actually checked on me when 9/11 happened, when all the buildings were falling down. Because I had, at the time, I was working with at a company where a partner company of ours was in the Twin Towers and got, everybody got out, but the place got demolished, as you know, it got destroyed. He was one of the only people that actually called to check on me in Seattle about that situation. So thank you. I remember that 20 years ago, you doing that. Thank you, man. Phil, Jessica Hullab, yes, my responses are sometimes delayed. Yeah, I saw that. Lauren, thank you. Hey, we love you. All right. Pat says, hey, everyone. Good to see you. Laura, I complain about my car every day. It's 12 years old and makes noises. I can't find a mechanic that can pinpoint what's wrong with it. Bruce and Tammy are on with us. They can direct you to their mechanic, or I can hook you up with my guy. His name is Steve. He works out of Frankfurt. Let me know if you need a mechanic. I got a guy. Deb, I've complained about doctors being late for an appointment. Yeah, Jessica, I've got Jesus in my life, and Eileen is my wife. My life is perfect. That's what Larry says right there. Wow, that's funny. Phil, he says, yeah, we just said that. Brenda, my needs are being met beyond measure. I have no complaint. I'm surrounded by the most incredible family and church family. That's cool, man. Good. Thank you. All right. So the first question is over when I asked you to tell about a time when you complained about something. Okay, guys, listen. As you know, we're in, I'm going to go jump right back here to the Bible. And we are in Exodus 16. So God is going to send manna from heaven. And he hasn't just yet, but the Israelites are complaining because they're hungry. So God promises to take care of their hunger. Now, verse 9, Moses said to Aaron, say to the whole congregation of the people of Israel, come near before Yahweh, the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling. Verse 10, and as soon as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of people of Israel, they looked toward the wilderness, which is the desert, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. I love that. And the Lord said to Moses, I have heard the grumbling of the people of Israel. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God. And in the evening, quail came up. I don't know if you've ever eaten quail before. They're not big, but they're a meal. In the evening, quail came up, and they covered the camp. And in the morning, dew lay around the camp. And when the dew had gone up, there was on the face of the wilderness, look at this, you guys, watch, a fine flake-like thing, fine as frost on the ground. Now, when the people of Israel saw it, they said to one another, look at these three words. What is it? I want you to remember those three words. What is it? Because in Hebrew, the word for what is it is manu or manna. It can be pronounced manu or manna. That's where we get the term manna from heaven. So when people talk about manna, God rained manna from heaven. It was like a bread, kind of, but like nobody even knows for sure. Look at this. It was like a fine flake-like thing, fine as frost. And when they saw it, they said, what is it? They said, manna. Like, what does that mean? That's Hebrew. What is it? All right. For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, it is the bread that the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord commanded. Gather it, each one of you, as much as you can eat. You shall each take an omer. Now, that's a funny measurement. Guys, I almost did this. Dadgummit. I was going to show you this. I completely forgot. An omer, if you can imagine what a 2-liter bottle of pop looks like a bottle of Mountain Dew, a 2-liter. You know what a 2-liter looks like, right? A 2-liter jug. An omer is about roughly as much bread as you could cram into the size of a 2-liter jug of Coke or Pepsi or Mountain Dew. So if you know what a 2-liter jug looks like that you drink pop out of or soda, wherever you're from in the United States, you call it either pop or soda. Whatever you drink, like that 2-liter jug, if you can imagine taking bread and just pushing it in. And I don't mean just dropping. I'm talking about pushing it and pressing it in, filling that whole 2-liter jug. That is 1 omer. That's 1 omer. So each one of you, it says, take as much you can eat. You shall each take an omer. That's basically around 2 liters of packed down bread, according to the number of persons that each of you has in his tent. So if you have 4 people in your tent, you'll fill up the equivalent of 4 2-liters packed full of bread, like mush, packed. That's a lot of bread. And that's a full 2-liter sized jug full for each person. And the people of Israel did so. They gathered some more and some less, some more and some less. But when they measured it with an omer, whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. So it worked out perfectly. Each of them gathered as much as they could eat. And Moses said to them, look at this, let no one leave any of it over until the morning. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why in a minute. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it till the morning. And bred worms and stank. In other words, worms showed up, maggots, and it stunk. And Moses was angry with them. Morning by morning, they gathered as much as they could eat, but when the sun grew hot, it melted. See, guys, let me come back to this in a minute. Why do you think God said, don't hold any of it over to tomorrow? Eat what you want. Eat as much as you can eat. And then that's it. Don't save any for tomorrow. Here's why. Because if you're saving more for tomorrow after God said, don't worry, I got you, that means you don't trust God. See, there's a lot being taught here, and people don't get that. We're supposed to trust God. And if God says, listen, I know you're hungry, but I know this is a coffee cup, but pretend like it's a bowl, like with food in it. So instead of coffee, it's a bowl with food. Let's say I was really hungry and I haven't eaten for a while. So I have what's called a scarcity mindset. I'll go a little bit into psychology for just a minute. Whenever you have a scarcity mindset, hear me out, guys. Whenever you have a scarcity mindset, I'm trying to use nice words here. You will, what's the best way to put this that's not offensive? You will, let's just say quickly and with great haste, grab a hold of anything to make sure that you have provision. So in other words, when there's a scarcity mindset and there's no food, right? There's no food. So the food is scarce. And that can be anything. If you have no money, you will act the same way. If you have no relationship with like, if you're a woman and you want a relationship with a man, or if you're a man, you want a relationship with a woman, but you don't have that and you want it desperately, but you don't have it, you get what's called a scarcity mindset, which means that you would love to have that. And if something even remotely close came by, you'll grab it as quickly as you can and take as much of it as you can, because you never know when you'll get it again. Now, this holds true, guys. Listen to me. This is like simple psychology. This scarcity mindset idea, and it has everything to do with what's in the Bible. This carries through in our personal human psychology with everything. This is why, God, okay, let me first tell you the Bible part, and then I'll tell you how this affects you personally with simple psychology. God says, listen, I know you're hungry, but look, fill this container up, and it's, big, way bigger than this, but fill this up with food and eat until there's, you're full, but don't take any more. There's plenty of it around, but don't touch it, because I don't want you to like pile some on and hold on to it for tomorrow. Because if you do that, then God's saying, if you're doing that, then that means you don't trust me to feed you tomorrow. That's why God said, don't take there's plenty of it around, and I know you're hungry, but eat what you want, and then that's it. Trust me that I'll have it for you tomorrow. But as you saw, what they didn't trust, because they haven't had food. So when they didn't have food and they went hungry, they have a scarcity mindset. So when you have a scarcity mindset, you eat, and then even though God said don't save any, you still collect a bunch more, mush it in there, and save it. Because why? It's not as much that you don't trust God, although you truly don't, because if you did, you wouldn't do that. But when you have a scarcity mindset, you don't think rationally. Instead, you think, I've got to take all I can get as quickly as I can get it and hoard some more, because I never know when I'm going to get it again. And I haven't eaten for a while. So I don't know for sure. And I'm a little scared. So I need to trust me. So I'm going to pile on as much as I can and just stash it, even though God said not to. That's showing they don't trust God. Now, that's the biblical sort of application of that. How do we apply that to us right now? This is where we're going to go into a little bit of psychology, not a lot. Don't worry, don't get bored. people get a scarcity mindset when there is a lack of anything. If there's a lack of food, I'll prove it to you. If there's a lack of food, when you see food and you have access to food, you don't have great manners. You grab it and you cram it into your mouth as fast as you can, and you eat. And it's not pretty, but you're hungry and you haven't had any. And when you haven't had any, you take any opportunity you can get to get some of it. And then you will never miss an opportunity. So if it's like you're full because you just ate, but yet someone brings out some more food, you're like, hey, I'll take that. Let me have that. Even though you don't need it. It's because with a scarcity mindset, you're like, but I don't know when I'm going to get any more. So give me. I'll take it. I'll shove it in my shirt. I'll put it up under here. I'll put it in my pocket. Give me some more of that food. I'll stash it because I haven't had any for a while and I don't know when I'm going to get some again. That's a scarcity mindset. Now, we also do that, human beings. We do that with money. If you're poor and broke, let's say you're broke, you work hard, but you have too much month and not enough money, right? When that happens, no matter what, you value money more than you should, because money is the key to living. Living in our society, it's really difficult to live if you don't have any funds, if you have no access to cash. You can't buy gas, you can't buy food, you can't pay rent, you can't pay utility bills, you can't do anything, can't have any entertainment, you can't do anything with anybody. Without money, you're in big trouble. So when you're broke, you'll do ridiculous things to get money. This is why people in poor communities, you see so much crime, because it's scarce. There's no resources. So where there are resources, people will eventually take them by force if they need to, because there's a scarcity mindset and they don't know when they're going to get any more. The same thing happens. Listen, guys, listen to me. The same thing happens with relationships with people. Actually, I'm not going to go into that tonight. I'm not going to go into that. I'll go into that another time when I'm teaching psychology at church. And I have psychology classes coming up in a couple of weeks on Sunday nights. So I'll deal with that then. But it's a scarcity mindset. That's why these people are afraid. And they want to trust God, but the physical pain of being hungry and the fear of not knowing for sure when you're going to eat again gets you to get into that scarcity mindset and grab anything you can as quickly as you can and stash it and hoard it and keep it. That's where that comes from. We jump over to the comment section, see what people are saying, and we'll go back to the text. All right. John, hoarding. That's exactly right. Penny, scarcity mindset in 2020, hoarding toilet paper. Yes, exactly right. Phil, it's like the Lord saying, I will feed you today until you're full. I'll take care of you tomorrow. Trust me, it's exactly what he said. Yes. Gabriel, the Israelites' faith is so small in God. Yeah, you exactly. After seeing him part the Red Sea, you don't think he can feed you? It's like, come on, man. Where's your brain? Jessica, Gabriel, same with many of us today. So true, so true. All right, guys. So back to the text. Actually, no. Now I'm ready for the last question of the night. And then we go back to the text. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Okay, question number 2. Share about when you, this is going to be good. Share about when you received something unexpected, like a gift, something you needed, something that showed up and maybe you didn't earn it. Maybe you didn't know it was coming. Well, maybe you did know it was coming, but either way, you didn't provide it. Somebody provided it for you. So share about a time when you received something, maybe by surprise, maybe unexpected. I don't know for sure, but God out of nowhere gave the Israelites food, bread and meat, fresh food every single day. And they didn't earn it. They complained. They didn't earn anything, but God gave it to them. And they received it and they took it, but they received it. And some of them didn't expect that God was going to help, but God helped anyway. So I'm asking you, share about a time when you personally received something that maybe you weren't expecting to come, but you received it anyway. This could be really interesting. I'm curious what people are going to say about this one. Now, this can go good or bad. You received a really big bill from the IRS and you're like, what am I going to do? So this could be a bunch of different things, but I want you to share when you received something unexpected. That's what I'm asking you to do tonight. All right. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go back to the text. We're going to wrap this up, and then we'll go into your. Actually, wait a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to show you. I got a couple pictures here. Where did we go? Here we go. There's a guy. Now, he may have expected to get, some crab because he's on a crabbing boat, but maybe not one's this big. So that's a great blessing. That's a great blessing, right? Maybe you go out and you don't think you're going to find anything to eat, and then out of nowhere, you find something like this. It's just a great blessing that happens. Sometimes we don't know that we're going to be taken care of. We just don't know. Sometimes we just don't know. And the other thing I was going to say is that notice that God said, don't leave it over. Don't hold on to it. You just don't know. You don't know when you're hungry, when you're going to get the next meal. So our natural inclination is to stash something, right? So anyway, let's go back to the text. Question being, share about when you received something that was unexpected. All right. All right, on the sixth day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers each. Remember an omer, what I just told you, roughly, not perfectly, but roughly the size of as much bread as you could smash into a 2-liter bottle that holds pop or soda. So 1 omer is basically the size of a 2-liter. So 2 omers each, because it's going to cover that day and the Sabbath where you're not going to go collect it. So you have a 2-liter thing filled with bread for one day and a 2-liter thing filled with bread for the next day for each member of your family. And when all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, he said to them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil. And all that is left over lay aside to be kept until the morning. This is the only time they're supposed to do this so that they don't have to do any work on the Sabbath. Verse 24, so they laid it aside till the morning as Moses commanded them, and it did not stink, unlike before. And there were no worms in it, unlike before. Moses said, eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, there will be none. Now watch this. On the 7th day, some people went out to gather. Again, disobeying God, but they found none. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, in the 6 days, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. See, even when God took care of them, they still didn't trust God and they went out anyway. The lack of trust is crazy. Verse 31, now the house of Israel called its name manna. Remember what I told you manna means? It means, what is it? What is this stuff? What is it? That's manna in Hebrew, sometimes pronounced manu, depending on how you use it. But generally it's manna, which is why we call it manna. And it means, manna means, what is it? Like if I were to give you something to eat and you're like, what is this? If you were a Jew, you would say, manna. You're saying, what is this? What is it? It was like, now remember, whenever you see like and as, it means it's not exactly what's being said. It's just, this is the best way to describe it. So it doesn't mean it is coriander seed. It's like coriander seed. White, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. So it wasn't wafers made with honey, which people have told me before. No, it's like wafers made with honey. So like and as are descriptive terms in the Bible used often when they don't know how else to describe something. It doesn't mean it is wafers and honey or it is coriander seed. No, it means that it's white like coriander seed and it tastes something like wafers that have honey on them. But it's not any of the above. It's just like that. Now Moses said, this is what the Lord has commanded. Let an omer, remember that, 2 liters of it be kept throughout your generations so that it may be the bread, so they may see the bread which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. And Moses said to Aaron, take a jar, put an omer of manna in it, and place it before the Lord to be kept throughout your generations. You're going to see that a little bit later in the Bible. As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron placed it before the testimony to be kept. The people of Israel ate the manna for 40 years till they came to habitable land, and they ate the manna till they came to the border of the land of Canaan. Now it says here, an omer is a 10th part of an ephah. What's an ephah? Okay, ready for this? Whoop, wait a second. What did I just do? All right, wait a second. Stop. There we go. Pushing the wrong buttons here. What's an ephah? Well, it's roughly, depending on how you measure, and it's not exact, it's about 10 times. It's roughly, an ephah is roughly 20 liters. Remember, a 2-liter bottle is an omer. You take a 2-liter bottle of Coke or Pepsi or Mountain Dew. You dump out all the liquid. You cut the spout off that you drink through, and now you've got this great big tube. You smash bread into it till it's packed full. That's an omer. About 10 of those, maybe 11, depending on how you're measuring. 10 or 11 of those is an ephah. And an ephah is basically 20 to 22, somewhere in there, 20, 21, maybe 22, 2 liters. So about 20 of these 2-liter jugs is an ephah. Okay, so the question is, share about when you received something that was unexpected. All right. Jessica says, my mom gave me her car. Very nice. Good for you. I like free cars. That's good. Penny, when the kids were little, we were going through a difficult time. Someone from church gave us a freezer of beef anonymously. I remember that. Yeah, that was tough. We went through a little period of time when I was between a couple of things, and Penny was working hard, but I was ending one sort of career and starting the next, and there was a little spot in there where it was a little bit rough. I remember that. Yep. All right, Gino and Tammy. One time we received an overpayment to escrow, and it was a check several years ago. It was close to $10,000 on several properties. Yeah, he had a bunch of properties at one time. Come to find out, there was a snafu, and I had to give back nearly $5,000. Wow. Yikes. Okay, that's scary. Lauren, my whole bedroom was changed the night before Christmas while I fell asleep on my dad's lap. I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, I heard about that. Nice. Tammy, our prison outreach group was gifted hundreds of postage stamps from a death row inmate in Texas. Huge, wonderful blessing from a stranger. Yeah, you know what? Stamps are expensive, man. Lee says, when we were first married with a new business, we barely had enough money for food, and an anonymous person dropped off Christmas gifts for the kids on our doorstep. I never forgot that, and we are now blessed to be able to provide for others in our community. It is a valuable lesson I carry on to this day. That's awesome, man. Good for you. I love that story. That's cool. Greg says, God has always given me unexpected gifts. Yeah, me too. Gabriel from Africa. I owe someone 5K Nigerian Naira. I promised to pay him a particular day. That day came and I had nothing with me at all. He called me to remind me. I repeated and told him I will pay him that day. Miraculously, that day, my sister asked me to keep a money for her until the next week. It was exactly 5K in Naira. I hope I'm saying that right. I instantly used her money to pay the debt that I promised the creditor, and I will refund my sister later, though. But God blessed me unexpectedly. I wasn't ashamed. He sozoed me. That's right. He's been paying attention to our Sunday sermons. Sozo means salvation. It means to rescue, to deliver, to save. So God saved you. He rescued you. He delivered you. That's awesome. All right. John says, I locked my keys in our truck and I was 4 miles away from home during the summer. Out of nowhere, the mail lady pulls across the highway and gave me a bottle of water. That's awesome. Nice, nice, nice. I like that. Brenda says, I ordered a beautiful leather sectional because I wanted to have plenty of seating in my living room. When it was delivered, I was told it was already paid in full. Nice. Along with my new bedroom set. Whoa. I was told by my friend that it was a gift because I graduated college and they were proud of me. Good for you. I love that. Very cool. Dan, what's up, Danny? Dan has lost so much weight. Dan Van Hoy, my approval for weight loss, it was an insurance mistake that they had to eat 14K. Oh, my gosh. Wow. You look incredible, man. I've known Dan for 25 years, something like that, around 25 years. Dan's like half the size of a human being that he was when I met him. Looking great. And by the way, thank you for all that stuff you sent me. I wasn't ignoring you. I've had a lot, and I mean a lot of work in the last week or so. So I'm not ignoring you. I thank you for those songs. They are great. Thank you for sending those. Gabriel, my generator caught fire but never exploded. The fire didn't caught me to that, a blessing from God too. All right, cool. Sometimes when he writes in English, he's Nigerian. He's in Africa, so English is the second language. So you do a good job. I'm sorry I don't understand sometimes. All right, guys. So listen, what did we learn tonight? Well, first of all, God provides. He always provides. Sometimes he uses other people to do it. Sometimes he does it miraculously. But the first question I asked you was to talk about a time when you or someone else complained about their situation. Did you notice how all of us had a story about complaining? Just like the Israelites in the desert. And the second one I went through was share about a time when you received something unexpected. We've all received things that were unexpected. We've all had opportunities to really be in need. You notice that? We all have times when we're in need. And it's not fun. But every one of us have received something at some time, and we didn't know it was coming. It's really interesting. All right. Dan, love you, buddy. Miss you. Love you too, bro. All right, listen, guys. We're going to wrap up about 10 minutes early tonight. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody else popped in here. Jessica, funny, the example of the Israelites grumbling in the wilderness has been popping up in my head all week. Good stuff. Needed to hear it. Thank you for that. All right, cool. Well, we're just marching through the Bible, so I can't take credit for that. Moses wrote it, not me. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. I'm going to close in a word of prayer, and I'm going to ask you, as always, before you leave, make sure you jump over to the comment section and say goodnight to everybody. But first, join me in a word of prayer, if you would. God, I thank you for this time. I praise you for your goodness. I thank you that we can truly see ourselves in so many things that the Israelites are going through, and even in the things that Moses is going through. And I thank you, Lord, that we can learn and we can apply this stuff, this 4,000-year-old text. We can apply it to what we're dealing with. So I thank you for that, Lord. And I praise you for your goodness. And I ask now that you would bless those that need blessing. You would bring healing to those that need healing. Deliver those that need to be delivered and rescued. And I pray that tonight, Lord, that everyone within the sound of my voice will be blessed and highly favored in your eyes. For I ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you guys, do me a favor, as always, before you take off. And we got a ton of people anonymous on YouTube, looks like. A bunch of people logged in on YouTube, a bunch of people logged in on Facebook. So we have a ton of people watching. Do me a favor, jump over to the comment section, throw something up there, say goodnight to everybody. And just remember, as hundreds of people watch this study, and they do every week, we usually get about anywhere from 50 to 100 during the program here. And then it'll be a couple hundred more during the week that'll watch this. Always remember that somebody somewhere is hearing some word, and somebody somewhere is getting some of the Bible. So let's always be praying that God will open doors and make opportunities for that to happen. And do me a favor, you guys, before you take off, jump over to the comment section, say goodnight to everybody, and just know I love you and I appreciate you a whole bunch. Tomorrow, I'll be doing a quick about 15-minute devotional about noon Central Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, called Worship Wednesday in the same channel. And then other than that, you guys, I would say, as I always tell you on Wednesday, I'm going to tell you tonight, find a Bible teaching church somewhere local. If you're by us, come see us on Sundays. We're in the southern, sort of the south suburbs of Chicago. Like when I lived in Seattle, we were actually in the north suburbs of Seattle. Here we're in the south suburbs of Chicago. If you're around this area, come join us on a Sunday. If not, find something, that's relatively close by your home. Go there on a Sunday. Get involved. But make sure it's a Bible teaching church. Got to watch out for the weird stuff, man. All right, you guys, I'm going to jump over to the comment section, look at a couple of good nights here, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right. Ooh, Gabriel said, my engine light generator caught on fire while I was refueling it with petrol. I was saved. Oh, my gosh. Wow. I'm glad to hear all that stuff. All right. Deb says, good night. Have a great week. Love that. Jessica, have a good night, everyone. Love to all. Brenda, no Bible study at my house this week. Yep. I'll be sending out that text to the regular group that the 20-some people that meet there every other week. I'll send that text out. Love and miss you all. Thank you for your prayers. We love you too. Keep healing. Laura, good night. Yeah, good night to you. Give Ron a hug for us. You know what? It's so good to be getting to know you guys. Tell your son. Tell Justin I said hello. I'll hopefully be catching up with him pretty quick too. Lee, peace to you all. Thanks, my brother. I appreciate you so much. Danny, what is up? Dan Van Hoy, good night to you too, buddy. Lauren, good night, everyone. Have a great week. Love y'all. I love her little twang there. Gabriel, does eclipse happen there too? Y'all have a good night. Yeah, the eclipse, I mean, I didn't see it personally here, but it got a little bit dark here. It got really dark in different places across America, though. I'm not sure how it was in Africa, but here at different places, it was pretty dark. So it was pretty impressive. All right. John says, amen. Have a good one. Good job. Yeah, right on. Cool, man. Thank you. Peggy, good night. Have a blessed week. Thank you. Janelle, good night and enjoy spring. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Phil, good night. Remember the blessings the Lord has given us all. That's right. Why did you stop, Pastor Shred? Oh, I just got a bunch of other things going on. I'll when I get around to it. I'm teaching classes on theology. I'm teaching classes on psychology. I'm still doing counseling. I'm still preaching every Sunday. I'm still doing a bunch of other stuff. I will be putting up some more stuff here pretty soon. I promise. And thank you for reminding me about that, Dan. All right. Pat, good night. Good night to you. George, good night, everybody. Great class as usual. Hope to see you in church Sunday. Yes, sir. I'll be there. Greg says, everyone have a Jesus-filled week. Good night, you all. Love that. Richard says, good night. Have a great week. Appreciate that. Penny says, good night. Praying for safety for those traveling. Praying for healing for all to be recovering. I like that a whole bunch. Phil said we had 95%. Yep, very much so. All right, you guys, love y'all. If I missed anything, it wasn't on purpose. I just know I love you and I appreciate you, and have a great night. And I will catch you tomorrow or Sunday. See you around.